My name is Nicole with So Much More. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to finish a quilt top using the facing technique. We'll be using materials and measurements which are available on my website. This is linked in the description just below this video. While you're watching, if you see something that you like, give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Head over to my website, grab your materials list and cutting instructions, and let's get started. For this video tutorial, I'm finishing my art quilt using the facing technique. This art quilt consists of several class samples from a modern quilting class that I took with my local guild. Besides a quilt top, you'll also need your corner pieces, which can also come in handy for hanging your quilt. 4 fabric strips that are at least the length of each side of your quilt top. You can use sewing pins or clips. I prefer clips for this technique, so that's what I used in this tutorial. You'll also need a pair of scissors, and I just love my Karen K. Buckley scissors. First, we'll take our little squares of fabric, fold them in half diagonally, and press them together. And we'll do that to all 4 of them. Now I've already folded the strips of fabric in half. You'll just fold the long sides together, the raw edges together, and press that to get ready to attach to your quilt. Now for the corners, you're going to put those on first. You'll put these on the right side of your quilt top. Now again, I'm just using clips, so I'm attaching these to each corner. Now for the strips, you'll attach the raw edge against the raw edge of the quilt. And then I'm just trimming a couple inches away from the edge. And I'll do that for every corner and every side of the quilt. Once we have all the facing and corner pieces attached to our quilt top, we will sew these in place. Simply start at one corner and sew the entire perimeter of your quilt using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm using a sewing stiletto to help keep the fabric in place while I'm sewing. This is especially useful when you want to keep your fingers away from the needle. When you reach a corner of the quilt, ensure that your needle is in the down position. Lift your presser foot and pivot your quilt. I've zoomed in really close to show you how we're going to add a diagonal line of stitches to each corner. Now this is for reinforcement since we'll be turning each corner out. Once you have all the facing and corner pieces secured with your stitching, you'll take just a moment to press your facing strips out. The next step is to sew a line of stitches along the facing strips, just about 1/8 of an inch away from your existing seam. Now the purpose of this step is to help the facing strips easily fold to the back of the quilt. Using your scissors, snip away each of the corners. And be careful not to snip past the diagonal line of stitches that you made earlier. Making these little snips will reduce the bulk in the corners when you turn your facing right side out. When turning your facing right side out, simply flip out each corner of the quilt. The raw edges of the facing strips will be hidden behind the facing corners. Now, I'm using a chopstick to help my corners along. Now to finish this up, hand bind the facing strips to the back of your quilt. I found the easiest way to do this is to clip the facing strips into position. You can even move the corner back so that you can reach the raw edge of each strip to hand stitch this down. Once your binding is finished, you can even add a dowel rod to the sides in case you want to hang your quilt on the wall. I really like the way facing a quilt doesn't take away from the original design of the quilt. I like this mini quilt so much that I decided to hang it right outside of my studio. Isn't it great? Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video tutorial, be sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you sign up for notifications, you'll be the first to know about my next video. If you want more DIY, Go to the link in the description and sign up for my weekly newsletter. Each week, I send you inspiration directly to your inbox. For more tutorials, head over to my website and Facebook group, where there's always so much more in store.